Hi, my name is Tafat Gwaziwa. I'm a decorated organic consultant. I'm representing Humuson. I have over 15 years of experience in the organic industry, helping farmers, helping organizations across the continent in Africa. And I've really worked more with Humuson complex and in Zimbabwe. So basically today, I just want to share something which is very important, but it's a keynote which is overlooked with farmers very, very much. So I'll start. It's sugar bricks content. I really want farmers to understand one key measurement, which is important if you want to be successful, or if you're going to be successful in your farming, so to speak. What is Brix? So Brix is essentially a measurement of sugar content, vitamins, minerals, proteins, and other solid content in the sap of a plant. Obviously, it is expressed as a percentage, and the more sugar content in a plant's tissues, the higher the Brix value. So what happens is sugar becomes the energy of the plant. It's something which is pumped, and this is basically what is actually Brix. So Brix values have been found to relate directly to nutrient content in the plants and fruits. The higher the Brix value, the higher the nutritional level of a fruit or vegetable, and the better taste too. So let's look at why farmers should fix their crop Brix values. Like I said, the higher the Brix, the better the pest infestation, meaning there won't be any pest if your Brix is high. So why should farmers then fix their crop Brix values? It because the low Brix value means poor nutrition, which will lead to pests. So if your Brix is going to be low, you're going to definitely have a whole lot of pests coming in. And moreover, plants with Brix values above 12 would definitely not have any pests. This is something that farmers need actually to know. And then when a plant has deficiencies, simple sugars and incomplete proteins leak out to the surface of the leaves and stems, drawing the bugs in for lunch. So here, the whole idea is pests don't have a pancreas to digest the sugars in a plant if they are high. But if they're low, then there's actually going to be pests there. So farmers should definitely fix their crop Brix values in order to save their money, because they won't be need to spray for different pests. Two, they're actually going to save their money in terms of test. Definitely a lot of people, they go for test and they're going to buy more. So you look at fruits and veggies with higher Brix levels will not rot and mold. They will simply dehydrate. So basically, you know that your money, you're going to retain value for money, if I may per se, in your different types of fruits and the different types of plants. And such fruits and veggies may lose enzymes and vitamins with time, but the mineral content remains the same. So it's always important, if you are actually going to looking at producing more out of less, or actually increasing your profit margins, that you have to fix the Brix of your plant. So here are the 7 critical things you need to know about Brix. These are very, very important. Fine. I'll start with this one. A low Brix reading is like a plant fresh out of fuel. The line that divides the two visible hemispheres can also offer an indication of calcium levels in the plant. If the dividing line is clean and sharp, it indicates a calcium deficiency. It can actually be a sign of mineral deficiency, but it's calcium, the tracker of all minerals. This mineral is the chief suspect. The goal of all good growers is a fuzzy dividing line that is an indication of mineral density and desirable calcium levels in the plant. So basically here, what you're trying to say is, if you've got a refractometer, which is what we use to measure Brix, you would understand what I really mean in this whole aspect, that calcium becomes a key pivotal, critical element if you want to increase your Brix. Fine. The low Brix levels are often linked to high nitrate levels in the plant. It is impossible to achieve nutrient density in the presence of excess nitrogen. This form of nitrogen is only ever taken up with water. So the higher the nitrate levels, the greater the dilution factor. A water mineral deficient plant is calling curve for pests and diseases. So this also called stress meter. Fine. The most abundant gas in the atmosphere is nitrogen. This is how I explain it. But a lot of people are buying AN, they're buying urea, they're all buying a whole lot of things with nitrogen. But here's the catch. The plant takes a whole lot of energy to digest nitrogen. It takes around 30%. And this energy, once it's used up, this is actually going to lower your Brix levels because the energy is actually being used up. It's going to lower your Brix levels, and when your Brix level is low, pests they come. So the plant is operating on a radio frequency where it's actually having a signal to the pest, and the pests are actually having the antennas. Bzzz, they can pick up that no, there is plant, there is food because the Brix levels are actually low. So the nitrates or the nitrogen that you use, if you're going to over fertilize, if you're going to overuse a whole lot of nitrogen, the whole thing that's going to happen to your plant is pests are going to invade and they're going to come because the energy levels will go down. It's just like someone who's going for an exam. They've had the SADA in the afternoon. SADA is going to take a whole lot of energy to be digested, and then you won't have your answers on point. You won't have that impetus going into that exam. And the moment you know it, it will be too late. So let me move to the third point. High Brix plants will have a higher specific gravity. They weigh more, and if you're paid by weight, this is a good story. On the plus side, your customers will come back for more of your nutrient-dense and superior quality fruits and vegetables. This is well straight to the point, confirm. Because basically, the higher the Brix, the better the nutrient density. Then you understand, like I'll give you a simple example in Zimbabwe, sugarcane. You're not only paid by the tonnage that you're going to have, you're also paid by the amount of Brix because it's going to weigh more, it's going to last more, it's going to produce more sugar. Not only the sugar levels, it's going to produce better quality sugar. So the fourth point is shelf life and Brix are directly related. The higher the Brix levels of fresh produce, the longer it will last on the shelf. Fine. This is something which is very interesting, confirm. So you'd realize that if you're going to have your Brix levels in check, I'll give you an example. Let's look at tomatoes or butternuts. You understand that if you put your tomatoes on the shelf, maybe they're green in color by then, so they're going to last longer. They're going to go maybe for 24 to 30 days. They're still good, they're still fresh, they're still palatable. But if your Brix level is actually going to be low, they won't even last for 4 or 5 days, they're already bad. So what does it entail if you really understand agribusiness? It means if you're supplying a certain supplier, they're not going to actually take more of your produce because it's not going to last longer. So the payback period is actually going to be shorter. But if you understand the law of the economics, once your Brix level is high, you're actually going to save your money and your pricing is not going to be affected. And then your shelf life is actually going to be better. Fine, I'll go to the fifth one. Humus is important. Not only does it positively impact soil structure, gas exchange, water retention, mineral delivery, and plant resilience, it also determines how quickly a lack of sunshine will crash a good season. Let me repeat. It also determines how quickly a lack of sunshine will crash a good season. Humus contains fulvic acid, the second sun, a natural substance that seems to substitute for a lack of sunlight. This now becomes the most important point. As much as I like all the 7, but this is a critical one. Humus. So Humuson, understand this. I'll give an example again. Tomatoes, they are sunshine worshippers. They like the sun. They really thrive well if they're actually exposed to enough sunshine. But here's the catch. It's going to be overcast for 4 days, for 5 days. Your tomatoes are not going to be exposed to the sun. Where are you going to get your second sun? This is important. For each and every plant to thrive, their lighting hours should be exposed to. What are you going to do as a farmer? This is where you need to bring in your A game. This is where you need to understand the importance of humic acid, fulvic acid, which is critical. This is where Humuson fertilizer is a game changer. It's going to increase your Brix. It's going to replenish your plant. It's going to charge your plant. It's going to recharge the batteries of the plant. It's going to make sure that the plant is actually having that second sun. And the moment the second sun comes into play, the plant is going to have a higher Brix level. And the higher Brix level, pests will fall away. The higher Brix level, you understand. I hope you all know that. So the 6th point becomes measuring Brix can also provide an indication of boron levels in your crop. Fine, I'll explain. If you check your, definitely if you understand that you check your plant early in the morning for your Brix, you check it early in the morning, you expect it to be low because the whole point is the plant sends all the sugars down to the roots extrude the sugars to the microbes. So early in the morning, the plant will be very low on the Brix level. But then the plant is supposed to gain some Brix and you're supposed to see it higher, not maybe higher, but just there midday. So if you see the same reading in the morning and during the day, it means it's a lack of boron, which is responsible for transportation of all the sugars within the plant. So it's something which is also critical to understand that pests will actually come early in the morning or late in the evening. These are nocturnal pests. Why? Because the Brix levels are low. You won't see pests during the day or midday, so to speak, but you see the pests early in the morning because the plant is at its weakest point. It's here to gain, it's fit to get a bit of energy from the sun, to get a bit of sugars pumped into it. So that is the whole point there. Okay, fine. What really are the advantages of high Brix levels? Fine, I'll explain. Better frost damage resistance. From a pedestrian approach, someone would actually argue how would actually frost and Brix actually correlate. Fine, here's the relationship. You take a 2-liter bottle of water and 2-liter bottle of mazoe, you put them in the fridge. Which one would actually freeze faster? It's obviously it's the 2-liter of water. Why? Because it doesn't have any sugars in it. Confirm. So you need to understand that the 2-liter mazoe will freeze, will take time actually to freeze. Why? Because it's got sugars. So the whole idea and the whole sequence is if the plant is actually low with its sugars, frost is actually going to take advantage. It's going to hit the plant early on. But if the plant is actually high on its sugar levels, it's going to survive. It's going to fight off the frost. Simple. So greater resistance to insects. This is a simple, easy concept. If your Brix is between 6 and 8, so aphids will fall away. If it's lower than 6, all pests, they're actually going to come. I don't call them pests, insects. I call them garbage collectors. They're actually just coming to clean up something that they think is no longer fit for human consumption because there's no nutrient dense in it. There is no value for the consumer, farmer per se. So the whole idea is 6 to 8, you see amphis starting to fall away. 8 to 10, the sap sucking will start to disappear. 10 to 12, then you're chewing insects, your grasshoppers, they're saying, well, this we can't consume, this we can't eat. That's how it works. Then let me move to the greater resistance to diseases from pathogenic fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Definitely, if the plant is healthy, all those will not come. But how then do you tell that your plant is healthy? You need to have your magic number up. It has to be above 12, your Brix levels. And then the longer shelf life and storage cell wall. This I explained earlier, that if you're going to have your Brix levels actually high, it means you're going to have your storage levels in a better space. Obviously, that becomes the rapid carbohydrate production, higher lipid production, and sweeter, higher quality produce containing more sugar, essential oils, something of that sort. But there's something also you need to understand as well. The higher the Brix, sugar is hygroscopic. So it definitely means that if your Brix is actually high, then your plant is going to actually absorb moisture, or what we call water vapor, in the atmosphere, because sugar is hygroscopic. So instead of you saying, well, there's no rain, or the rain has been delayed, something of that sort, your plant will thrive waiting for the rain because the sugar levels is high. It's going to take small amount, enough amount of moisture in the atmosphere, which is critical, and it's going to save you on your cost in terms of your watering cost. It's going to save the plant in terms of longevity. So those are other things that you need to understand in terms of Brix levels as well. This becomes also an important question. It's always posed with all the farmers across the continent. Now, how do we increase our Brix levels? What then do we do? How do we make sure that we actually are in check with the Brix levels so that we won't actually fall over? Fine. Here's something you need to understand. Rebalancing our soils and increasing microbiological activity. It's always important, because you don't grow plants, do you? You grow the soil. So the soil is got life in it. The only life in it is the microbes. So you understand that once you have your microbes in check in the soils, your microbes thriving, it means the microbes are going to mine minerals for the plant. The plant gives off its sugars in the evening to the microbes, and the microbes will be mining digestible nutrients for the plant. So it's a symbiotic relationship, and this is where they exchange. I give you, you give me. That's how nature works. I give you, you give me. That's how nature works. So you'd find that with products now like Humuson products, you're going to feed your soil. You're actually going to feed the microbes. And the moment you feed the microbes are going to feed the soil, because they are churning the soil and they are putting that glue sticky, all those nutrients in the soil, and better for the plant to absorb, better for the root to absorb. That's how nature works. That's how it works. Fine. Another critical thing to understand is any activity that promotes photosynthesis and the natural flow of plant sugars to the root system to feed the soil will likely be positive to the Brix levels. Like I said, if it's overcast, the plant is suffering. If it's raining, the plant is suffering. It's not the water which is important in the link. It's the energy which is actually coming from the sun. So if that energy is not there, then the plant is going to suffer. So the missing link is the energy, and the Humuson then counteracts and provides the certain key elements in humic acid to actually help the plant photosynthesize. So this is more like stored energy. This is more like your battery, your second battery. your second sun for the plant. So you need to understand that anything that then promotes photosynthesis is actually going to surely help the plant to photosynthesize. So this is something which is very, very critical, very, very important. Fine, I'll move to the, if you can increase the level of sugar in the plant will quickly develop full access to whatever minerals it needs. You get the benefit of accelerated carbon storage, increasing the percentage of organic matter in the soil. This is simple and straightforward. The moment you increase your Brix, you raise your bar high, then you understand that you're actually going to have a better plant. Brix and plant resistant to insects. Fine. It's so unfortunate that I'd actually explained this, but I'll actually run it over again because it's something which is important. When plants ascend the leaf Brix ladder and reach between 8 and 11, insects metaphorically fall off. This is it. This is because at this point in their life cycle, they've developed a shield to protect themselves from predators. Sucking or chewing insects won't tolerate Brix levels higher than 10 or 11, if it's okay. Examples include caterpillars that it lives directly with enzymes on them, while others like grasshoppers feed only when plant roots have been ingested, causing more damage over time due to being high in sugar content, making things less appetizing, palatable, until finally disappearing altogether once reaching Brix levels high. So basically, this is quite a simple thing that a lot of farmers experience. You've got your neighbor, and someone, let's say, is using Humuson products. They understand how to actually increase their Brix with Humuson, and your neighbor is actually using more of a synthetic fertilizer, if I may say, maybe. But here's the thing now. So if he is going to have pests invade his or her plants, you will find out that the pests or the insects will not be able to cross over to your plants because your Brix is actually high. All they can do is they move from that plant and somewhere else. They won't actually come to an area where your Brix levels are actually going to be high. So you'd find that in conclusion, farmers, you can bend, you can break the bank. You can actually break your arm and your leg to buy different pesticides, insecticides, you name it. But basically, pest invasion is a sign of failure that you have failed. And if you're going to actually use any amount of money to try to stop pests, as you can see, now they are resistant to different pesticides, to different insecticides, but the pest itself does not tolerate high Brix levels. So the idea is to then look at your farming, look at your way you're doing your farming, look at how you actually plan nutrition, how you're feeding the plant, as well as your water regime, how you're watering the plant, as well as your second sun. If you're not going to do all those things, you're going to waste a whole lot of money, because at the end of the day, it's one key measurement which can make a difference between a profit and a loss if in farming. Thank you.